Hello, 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 and happy Tuesday. And so I hope you had a great day so far. Oh, okay, well, guess I'm live now. Oh my gosh, I gotta get used to going live on my computer. But happy Tuesday. I hope you had a great Tuesday so far. And so, in this live video today, I'm going to be explaining to you how you business owners, entrepreneurs, freelancers, self-employed, small business owners, how you can get your health care costs covered without insurance. Okay, and so if this is something that resonates with you or piques your interest, you definitely want to tune in. And so, before I get started, if you are new to my page, to any of my videos, any of my content on social media land, my name is Katrice-Daniels. I am a licensed health insurance and life insurance specialist, and I help business owners, entrepreneurs, self-employed, small business owners. I help you guys navigate through your health insurance options and then coming up with a comprehensive, affordable plan that does not break the bank. And I'm also the founder of Insure Black America, which is my community initiative, and that is to close the coverage gap with insurance for African Americans. And so, jumping into it, right into it, how you can get your health care costs covered without insurance. Okay, so when I'm talking to business owners, a lot of times what I hear is, well, I'm kind of reluctant to get health insurance because I'm not that sick. I don't go to the doctor that often. Or I'm not sick at all. I don't need to go to the doctor. I don't need to be spending money every month. I don't need to be spending money every month on health insurance because I don't think I really need it, right? And so my rebuttal to that is, well, yeah, you may not be, sick or whatever. Well, you need to go regularly. However, if something catastrophic were to happen, what are you going to do? You're going to be on the hook for the entire cost, okay? There's no discount. You don't get a discount because you're paying through insurance. None of that. Like, it's all on you, right? And so one way that, one option that is available is a health share, okay? And so a health share is a low-cost alternative to health care, okay? To health insurance, right? And so health shares are a group of people who have agreed to help with each other's medical costs, okay? Now, sometimes when I first heard about health shares, right, the only ones I had heard about were the Christian health shares, okay? And so you had to be a part of the Christian faith, and in order for you to be able to, be a part of the health share, okay? Sometimes specific churches did them, and then, they had their own health shares, and then other times it was just an organization, but you had to be a part of a certain faith in order to participate in the health share, okay? Now they have health shares where you don't have to be, it's not a religious based health share, but they do kind of have like some guidelines that they ask you to follow in order to participate in the health share, okay? And so basically what it is that you pay a monthly contribution which goes into the health share, and then those contributions are distributed among the people who need help with paying their medical bills, okay? Now, they do have it's not a deductible. It works like a deductible, but it's called the unshared amount, okay? Meaning the amount that you would have to pay towards your medical costs before the health share will step in and pay anything on your medical costs, okay? And so that works similar to a deductible, okay? And so The difference is, though, while most insurance companies, they will pay a percentage of your medical costs, and that's just dependent upon, what your co-insurance is. Okay, so they'll pay a percentage of the medical costs after you meet the deductible. Okay, with some health shares, depending on which one you go with, they'll pay up to 100% of the medical expenses after you've paid the unshared amount. Okay, and they have different amounts for the unshared, like hey, how you doing? Thanks for jumping on. They will pay like an unshared amount. After you pay your unshared amount, you may find some health shares that will pay 100% of the cost, and then you'll have some health shares who, it may be just a percentage. It just depends on the type of health share that you join. Okay. Now, the difference between a health share and health insurance, right? So, health insurance, health shares are nonprofit organizations, okay? Health insurance is for profit, okay? And so health shares are nonprofits that are dedicated to helping the members with their medical expenses, okay? Now, like I was saying earlier, when I first heard about health shares, it was the Christian based, the Christian faith health shares, but there are health shares that are not Christian based, so it doesn't matter what your denomination is. They just ask you to, kind of adhere to some of their guidelines. Now, the health shares that I work with, one of the guidelines is that, not saying that you can't have any pre-existing conditions, but you need to be fairly healthy, because you don't want to, if you're somebody who has a lot of chronic conditions and you're always going to the doctor, then you need health insurance. A health share would not work for you, because the way it works is that everybody pulls in and then the money is distributed, and so they want to make sure that there's enough to pay medical bills for as many people as possible, not taking all of the money from the community and putting it towards a few of the members. So if you're somebody who's super sickly, or you take a lot of expensive medications, a health share may not be the best route for you. You may, you should look into actual health insurance, okay? And so when I'm talking to someone and I think, thinking that they may be a candidate for a health share, I look at people who are fairly healthy, people who, they just kind of want something in case, something happens. Just to have kind of like a security blanket to know that if something happened, they have something to fall back on, and the cost is not 100% on them, okay? So exactly how do health shares work, okay? So health shares, they operate under a different set of rules from traditional health insurance, and so many of them are exempt from state laws that normally govern health insurance, okay? And so the monthly contributions are often far lower than insurance premium. So that makes it a good choice for some business owners, especially if you're looking at, you're saying, I'm not that sick. I just don't see a purpose for having to pay for health insurance when I'm not using it, okay? You see it as a waste. So a health share, because it's, it could be the contributions are lower than premiums, that might be a better choice for you, okay? And so when looking at a health share, you got to know exactly what they cover, okay? Because some healthcare expenses are not covered at all, okay? And so if you decide to join a health share and then you have some expenses that aren't covered by them, you're going to be on the hook for the entire cost. So you need to make sure that when you are looking at a health share, that you look at exactly what is covered, okay? And they have an outline of what will be, what are qualified healthcare expenses that will be covered, okay? Now, if you were to join a health share that is of the Christian faith, any medical costs related to drug abuse, abortion, out of wedlock maternity costs, and injury resulting from illegal activities, those expenses would not be covered. Okay, and so you just want to make sure that when you are looking at a health share, that if it's of the Christian faith and you are not of the Christian faith, then you may want to look into finding a health share that is not based on faith. It's not a faith-based share. Okay. And so again, just how do you know? But when you're sitting down, when you're looking at it, like if you're looking with me, if you're sitting down with me and we're going over your health needs, and you're like, I really don't want insurance. I'm not that sick. I don't want to pay a premium. And so I'll look into a health share. The first thing I'm going to ask is, do you want a Christian based? Do you want a faith based health share or not? Okay. That's the first thing I'm going to ask. Okay. And if you decide you don't want a faith-based health share, then you go that route. But if you want a health share that's faith-based, you go that route. So it really just depends on you and your faith and your beliefs and which way you want to go. And that's how you choose. It's just like with when you're looking at health insurance, okay? You have to look at your needs. You have to look at what the plan can provide towards your needs. And then you have to look at, okay, how much am I going to be paying out of pocket? Okay? And so after you decide whether or not you want to go faith-based or not, then you have to look at, okay, how much, after I pay my unshareable amount, how much of my medical costs will be paid? Okay? How much will be covered? Well, they only cover, say, 80%, and then I have to pay the other 20% on top of my unshareable amount, or do I just pay my unshareable amount and then they will cover everything else? So you basically just want to look at your needs, what the plan will provide, and how much are you going to be paying out of pocket, okay? Now, with health shares, most health sharing providers, they won't raise the rates or turn members away for pre-existing conditions. However, if I'm working with somebody and you have you take a whole lot of medications, and very expensive medications at that, because we do know how medication costs can be, I would not present a health share to you. I would present actual insurance to you, because your needs are far greater than what a health share will, can do for you. All right. So at the end of the day, it is all about making sure that your needs are covered in, with the best option that's going to save you the most money out of pocket. Okay. And so I hope you found value in this live video today. If you did, please go ahead and share it out so that others may find value as well. Also, on Thursday at 7 p.m., I'm going to be doing another demystifying health insurance for self-employed people. And so if you are self-employed, a business owner, freelancer, entrepreneur, however you classify yourself, then you can go ahead and jump on at 7 p.m. It is going to be on the Insure Black America page. So I was doing it on Zoom, but then I was like, you know what, I don't want to try to move people from here to here. So we will keep it all right here on Facebook, easier to access. So that's at 7 p.m. Demystifying health insurance for business owners. So again, I hope you had a great rest of your day. Take care, God bless, and remember that together we can close the coverage gap for African Americans. Have a great one.